Hey guys, welcome to Otaku Express, the place where you get full manga and manhwa explanations, the easy way. Today, we're finally continuing Hunter x Hunter, right where the anime ended. Our journey begins with chapter 339, Stillness. This chapter is a quiet farewell to everything we've experienced so far, while gently opening the door to an entirely new adventure. And trust me, by the end of this chapter, you'll understand why so many fans consider it one of the most emotional chapters in the series. Before we dive in, let's quickly remember where the anime left us. Gon finally accomplished the dream he'd been chasing since the very first chapter. He met his father, Ging. After sacrificing almost everything during the Chimera Ant War, Gon survived thanks to Alika's incredible ability, but the price was enormous. He could no longer use Nen. At the same time, Chairman Netero was gone, Meruem's story had come to an end, and the Hunter Association election arc was finally over. For the first time in a long time, it felt like the world was finally at peace. But as we all know, Hunter x Hunter never stays peaceful for very long. As the chapter begins, Togashi doesn't throw us into another mission or introduce a new villain. Instead, he slows everything down. There are no epic fights, no huge speeches, and no dramatic confrontations. Just simple moments. And somehow, those quiet moments carry more emotion than many battles ever could. We see Gon spending time with Kite and the people rebuilding their lives after everything that happened during the Chimera Ant arc. After everything he suffered, it's refreshing to see him smile again. Not because he became stronger, not because he defeated an enemy, but simply because he's able to enjoy an ordinary day. For someone who has spent his entire journey risking his life for others, this peaceful moment feels incredibly meaningful. One of the chapter's most touching moments is also one of its simplest. Gon captures a beautiful view and shares it with the friends who stood beside him during some of the darkest moments of his life. It might seem like an ordinary action, but it carries a much deeper meaning. Everyone who survived the Chimera Ant War lost something. Some lost friends, some lost family, and some lost a part of themselves. Yet despite all that pain, life continues. Sometimes healing doesn't come through grand speeches or heroic moments. Sometimes it's as simple as sharing a beautiful memory with the people who matter most. As the chapter continues, we briefly revisit several familiar faces from previous arcs. If you're wondering why Togashi spends time showing all these different characters, it's because he's giving each of them a quiet sense of closure. We don't need long conversations to understand how much they've changed. Simply seeing them alive, moving forward, and continuing their own journeys tells us everything we need to know. It's Togashi's way of saying that the Chimera Ant arc has finally come to an end. But not everyone is ready to move forward. Then we see Kurapika. While Gon has finally achieved his lifelong goal, Kurapika remains trapped by the tragedy of his past. His mission to recover the Scarlet Eyes of the Kurta clan is still unfinished, and that burden continues to define his life. This brief appearance reminds us that although Gon's story has reached an important milestone, Kurapika's journey is only beginning to take center stage. The chapter also takes us back to the Zoldyck estate, where we're reminded that Killua and Aluka's lives are still far from normal. Even after everything that happened, the Zoldyck family continues to make decisions in their own unique and often disturbing way. It's a subtle reminder that some families don't change overnight, no matter what they've been through. Then comes one of the chapter's most emotional moments. Without needing many words, Togashi quietly reminds us of Meruem and Komugi. Their relationship began with conflict, grew through understanding, and eventually became one of the most beautiful bonds in the entire series. They found comfort in each other, despite coming from completely different worlds. Even after their story ended, their memories continue to leave a lasting impact. There are no dramatic speeches here, no emotional music. just silence. And sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. At first glance, Chapter 339 might feel slow. Nothing world-changing happens, and there aren't any major battles or shocking revelations. But that's exactly why this chapter is so important. After nearly 150 episodes filled with sacrifice, loss, heartbreak, and non-stop action, both the characters